There are now more details emerging of the two-pronged Bihar plan for the Popular Front of India or the PFI. Reach Masjid in interiors of the state to spread message. Physical education, train youngsters in martial art, the use of swords, etc. Ask them to go back to their villages and then train double the numbers. Recruit them to your cause. Arunama continues to be with us. Arunama, very chilling details now emerging of what this entire radicalization plan looked like. Not just be a part of the training, but go back, interior villages, train double the people to spread the message, quote unquote, of your cause. PFI, remember, when this entire plot had begun to unravel, had categorically denied that this is just trying to, ruin their name as far as this entire plot is concerned. But these details are very, very serious now.
And what is being pointed out, and just to take forward that these are two separate cases that we're talking about. One, the PFI SDPI radicalization module. Second, the case of Tahir that we just discussed. Tahir is being seen as a lone wolf, but this PFI conspiracy is much more sinister. This is what agencies have learned so far. We saw how in Kerala, in Karnataka, in Tamil Nadu, down south, the radicalization level is much more. Why are we saying that? Because in Kerala's case, people actually traveled all the way to Afghanistan, to Syria to join ISIS. That's the level of radicalization, including girls who later became wives of some of these quote-unquote fighters. Their children were born there. That's the level of radicalization. You are even willing to risk the life of your newborn. Karnataka, the hijab controversy, again it is being suspected that Campus Front of India is the one who radicalized these youngsters into giving up their academic career and sit at home if they're denied the use of hijab.
That even kids being used.
Exactly. So that's the level of radicalization that they want to bring to Bihar as well. The charge is that the PFI leaders realize in the interiors of Bihar, which has a significant Muslim population, people are more bothered about their day-to-day lives. In the interiors, not many, that's the claim, had heard about Nupur Sharma. And they wanted this message to go. And that is why the Sabzi Bagh office of SDPI, which was raided, about which Saurabh has reported, that was hired by the wife of one of the accused. And this is what investigators tell me, that wife of Jalaluddin actually hired this house, and she said she's going to run an NGO here to give education to poor kids. The rent agreement is in her name, and she goes by the, I'm just getting her name. She goes by the name of Farhad, and she is saying, I'm going to train these children in martial art, in education. And what is actually happening? These children, school students, college students, are then told, go back to your village, go back to your locality, and if 10 people have trained with you, each one of you must train 10 others. What are you teaching them? How to fight with swords. Where is this reaching? At this stage, investigators are not saying that there was a terror conspiracy, but this radicalization itself is raising the red flag, because what we saw in Udaipur.
Absolutely. Saurabh, taking on from what Arunama was exactly pointing out, there are many red flags, and unfortunately this has now become a pattern that every time we see a conspiracy of this sort or protest, the name of PFI crops up. First, just for the benefit of viewers, I want to understand, when there were raids as far as the SDPI office was concerned, what was found?
See, Ridhima, we went to the office of SDPI, where it was alleged that PFI was also operating from there, and it was the rented apartment of one Sabir Malik and Shamim Akhtar. These two were picked up by Patna police early morning on Saturday at 3 a.m. So, but later half of the day, they both were released because of the lack of evidence. But we went to the office and we found SDPI pamphlets and flags and every other stuff related to SDPI, but no trace of PFI was found over there. Saying this, I want to give an information that according to police sources, according to our sources, PFI has already trained more than 15,000 Muslim youths in Bihar, and in more than 15 districts they have their camps, and also they have set up a headquarter of PFI at Purnia. These are the information that we have latest received recently, and the police also, the Patna police, they raided at Purnia head office of PFI, but then did not find anything because it was a closed office there. When they reached and no one was there at that office. Talking about the modus operandi of PFI, we found that on the first day, the document which was found at Jalaluddin's house, which said India 2047 towards rule of Islam, that clearly mentioned 4 stages. As Arunima was telling us about the radicalization that was taking place, that document in fact was telling us about the 4 stages of how to achieve rule of Islam in India by 2047, in which the second stage was mass mobilization. The first stage was uniting all Muslims, and the second stage was mass mobilization of all those Muslims, winning trust of SC/STs, 10% SC/STs, and by fighting elections, contesting elections, winning trust of 50% Muslims. So this was the third stage. Also, this stage talked about stockpiling of weapons and explosives. In the fourth stage, which was the most exploding stage, it said that after winning the elections, all the government offices should be filled by PFI cadres, whether it was judiciary, executive, police or army. These all offices had to be filled by the PFI cadres, and then they would give their own constitution, which would be based on Islamic principles, and then Islamic rule will be established. So these details were elaborately given in that document, and as Arunima was telling us about the radicalization process, it was the second stage of their motive.
Saurabh and Arunima, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. I'll go across to our guests also in just a bit. But before that, Bihar Deputy Chief Minister Tarkishore Prasad spoke exclusively to CNN News 18 about anti-national forces in Bihar. Let's listen in.
NIA और बाकी सेंट्रल एजेंसीज भी इसमें इंटरफेयर कर रही है और ये केस लेने की बात की जा रही है, क्या कहें?
देखिए, बिहार में जो राष्ट्र विरोधी ताकतें हैं, जो फुलवारी शरीफ में अपना अड्डा जमाने का प्रयास कर रही थी, और उसके माध्यम से बिहार ही नहीं पूरे देश को कहीं न कहीं कमज़ोर करने का जो प्रयास चल रहा था, उसको बिहार पुलिस ने उसे ध्वस्त किया है। हमारी सरकार, राज्य सरकार गंभीर है, और इसमें जो केंद्रीय जांच एजेंसियां हैं, जो केंद्रीय इंटेलिजेंस हैं, और जो भारत की सरकार है, सबों के सहयोग से इस तरह की जो ताकतें हैं जो कहीं न कहीं पूरे भारतवर्ष को कमज़ोर कर रही हैं, उसको पूरी ताकत से कुचलने का काम हमारी सरकार ने और हमारी पुलिस ने करने का एक सफल प्रयास किया है।
Let me also now introduce our guests who are joining us this afternoon. We have the former DGP of Uttar Pradesh, Vikram Singh, and we also have the Director